Hello, travel biz owner. Welcome to my corner of the travel industry, the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. If you're ready to have fun, be inspired, get clarity, and take action in your travel business, then you're in the right place. Let's jump in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. If you are new around here, my name is Rita M. Perez. I am your host of the podcast. And if this happens to be your first podcast episode, well, buckle up because this is going to be a full one. I am here with two of I have a lot of favorite people, but when it comes to like business strategy and talking about systems but also like talking about real talk, I mean, we've already been chatting like 10 minutes before and I was like, okay, we have to press the record button because this is going to get really good. So if you've been like needing a boost in your business, possibly a reality check, possibly permission not to do things that everybody else is telling you to do, this really is the episode for you. So I have Courtnie Nichols of Travel Bash and also the Biz Huddle with me. And then I have Lary or Lary, Néron, or depending where you're from, which accent, but
Nailed it.
he is the founder of Air School and his business model and his travel agency is all air, which I know might shock some of you because you've been told not to do air. And pretty much, I feel like business can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be what other people are telling you to. There's a lot of different pieces of the puzzle that work and that will work for different people. And there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that work for somebody else that won't work for you. So we just want you to be open to whatever possibilities. Before we jump into Courtnie, for people who might not know who you are, just do like maybe like a 1 minute intro about all things Courtnie Nichols.
Oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. So I'm Courtney Nichols. I started in the industry 2017, went full time in 2018. Travel Bash, as you mentioned, um, it was my first kind of baby travel agency focused on destination weddings, luxury group trips. COVID happened, launched TRVLB, retainer model, high end. I was like,
Mm,
no more one-off trips.
yeah.
World opens back up. I'm like, forget that. And then recently, started the biz huddle, saw like there was a gap. I would talk to so many colleagues at different shows and on fam trips and conferences that like something still wasn't hidden. So we were talking
Mm,
about like the business strategy. I love talking business regardless, whatever industry. And I was like, what if we could create more of that business coaching, mastermind type, let's talk about business, but all things in our business
yeah.
versus just selling and suppliers and webinars. And so I came up with the Biz Huddle. And so, like, that's kind of what I've been focusing on lately is like sharing the information, bringing kind of trying to close the gap, elevating our industry, like letting people, or I guess empowering people to like build the business
Mm.
that they want or dream, like you kind of said, like not like everybody else, but like what's going to be best for you and what that looks like, what's missing. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. I moved 9 times in 17 years, so I would say I'm located here, but today I'm located here, and I could be located somewhere tomorrow, thanks to my husband being a college basketball coach, which
Yeah.
got me into the industry because I needed something that I could do. From if he said we lived in Antarctica, so that's all of me in a nutshell, or just a little bit of me, former athlete. I'm like, what else can I tell you guys? But yeah, that would be another podcast episode, probably a
Right.
novel to be exact. So I'll stop there.
I was like, idea, light bulb.
Yes.
And Larry, tell us a little bit about you for people that might not know who you are.
My name is Larry. I run Airfare Consultant, which is an air-only business on a retainer model similar to Courtney. That's been going on for about 11 years now. And essentially, we just make the commercial flying experience feel like a private jet. So that's that business. And I have a passion project on the side. It's a community called Air Lab on a platform called School, where I dissolve all the air myth and try to get people to fall in love with air, which has been proven to be very difficult. But I guess I've always been an outlier when it comes to just doing travel business, and especially
Mm.
that I focus solely on air and the way that I price the services and the way that I think. So I'm just trying to give that back to the community and try to just show different angles and show different possibilities for advisor, that there isn't just one path to make this work.
Yeah.
The only known thing is you have to go from a hobbyist to an entrepreneur at some point. I think
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
only obvious step. But once you've gone there, like there's so many different ways you can go. And I have a way. And if I found this way and it works for me in my life, then it's got to be some other people out there that would like to do something similar. So just trying to showcase more of that.
Yeah, and this conversation was inspired by a recent email. So if you're on my email list, I posed out a question. If you could choose one to save more time in your business or to save more money, which one sounds more relevant to you? And thinking about it, I was like, that's such a simple question, and there's so many complex answers, more than just saving time and money. And Larry emailed me back, and we got started on a conversation. And I'm like, we need to take this on a public conversation and not just an email one. So that is why we're here today. So I guess this is kind of where we can start off and like see where we go down this rabbit hole today is what were some of the things that you were mentioning, Larry, that it's over just saving time or money when it comes to being a business owner?
To me, like, I mean, my core business people, they're founders and C-suite executives for the most part. And for them, it's just about they first of all, we all tend to sell the same and we're really good at selling what it is we do
Hmm.
and saying we save time for people. And I think that's kind of a given. If you're charging money for something, you're pretty much saving them time in a way,
Right.
shape, or form. And we focus on selling outcomes. So we try to focus on what the clients care about. Like they don't care about what I do and how much time it takes me to do it. They care
Hmm.
about what they get. So we focus on the outcome. What is in it for them? How is it going to make them feel when they travel with us? And we're selling them that feeling of working with us. That's essentially that. As simple as that, to be honest. We don't
Yeah.
complicate it too much, but that's what we sell.
Yeah. I'm glad that you say it like that too, because I feel like we overcomplicate because there's so many different ways that that outcome can come out, but it doesn't like we don't have to. I think we think too much. We think, what is it? We put the cart in front of the horse, or backwards is that when it just needs to be in its simplest form. You have a business, you're helping other people out. How do you help people out? That is what it is. And I know Courtney, I think you had a recent post on LinkedIn about this. You're not selling travel. That is not what the outcome
No.
is, even though kind of, but that's not the true outcome.
Right. It's like iPhone. No one, here's what you would think assume they sell a phone, but do they
Yeah.
really sell a phone? Why do people hop on the bandwagon every year and update their phone? I don't, but what I'm saying is like it's more than just the phone. And so
Yeah.
I think it's the old school versus new school thinking of like old school, we feature selling. I book hotels, I monitor flights, I arrange transfers. Nobody cares. New
Yeah.
school is like friction removal. Like I make sure nothing
Mm.
falls through the cracks. I reduce decision fatigue. Like those are the outcomes. I create certainty in uncertain, process. Like people don't buy the test. That's what Larry's saying. Like nobody cares how long it takes you, what you do. They're buying the relief. They're buying like old school is looking at your metrics of like revenue, bookings, room night, transactions. Like new school, I feel like it's trust, confidence, loyalty. Like the production matters, but like it's a lagging indicator. And so how clients feel working with you to me is the leading indicator. Like the way we're marketing, I think here's what I feel like I see, or here's what I know.
Mhm.
There's tons of us, travel advisors, that are amazing travel advisors. And the experience and the expertise and the care and the knowledge they put around their craft is impeccable, but they have not done a good job of articulating that.
Right.
You actually are probably better than how we're being marketed or how we are, the perception of what we do and the visibility around, um, I guess the industry, I think is the difference. But I think we've fallen into the trap because all we do is market the same things that the perception actually continues to, you know what I mean? Like show. Does that make sense? Like we haven't done a good job
It's
of dispelling that the impact or the worth. Does that
that.
make sense? Because we keep
That.
catering to planning itineraries and trips and like, but we're not
Features.
talking about, yeah, how
Yeah.
your life is improving.
Yeah. I think one of you and travel advisors, if you can't tell, we talk a lot on LinkedIn also. So I very closely follow when they have new posts or new thoughts coming up. That was in one of your guys' posts about like, why are we going to conferences and being like, I sold $1 million of this? Like, why does it have to be on those data figures that we're focusing on and not the impact that we're making? Like, you just saved not even like saved, but like this CEO doesn't have to like worry one bit about all of his conference travel because the travel advisor has it down packed. All the details are taken care of for them. Plus, plus, plus.
Don't get me started. Larry, you gonna say something? Because the reason, no, because this is the thing. I hate when people say $1 million sales because that means absolutely nothing. Like, and
Correct.
it's not just a travel advisor, sales, period. There's tons of companies that they have sales and commissions and all of this, and you can do 20 million in sales and make $50,000. So it doesn't mean, but I think the
Yeah.
reason why our industry is so big in it, I shouldn't say this, and God, please forgive me for what I'm about to say, but I call it award hose. I say
Permission granted.
yeah, I say award
Ooh,
hosts. We're award hosts. And the reason
I
why
love
is
that's
because in our industry,
accurate.
they award, oh, this $1 million, this top seller, this is a top producer. These are key words that we have attached to our success. In
Mhm.
our industry, if you've gotten this award or this supplier says this about you, or you hit this, in this, then you're supposed to be that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm like, it's the ward house because it's like that feeling of we've done good or we have measured our success by these things based on what someone gives us. It has
Mhm.
nothing to do with our business because there's tons of people that have millions of awards, top sales. All they're telling you is you sell the hell out of our product. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't say anything about how profitable you are, how much money you have in your bank account. It's basically saying you've been a good steward of our brand. And we eat it up, don't we? We
Yeah.
eat it up.
I'm like,
Yep.
mic drop there. Because I there was somebody that was there was some like top producer award and they're like, oh my gosh, like everybody, all the congratulations. And I'm like, okay, so they sold that much. Like, how many hours did they work to get that? Was this by themselves or do they have ICs under them? And that's how they got to that top producer. And also asking about like those profitability factors because we don't shed the onion layers. Like, sales, I guess, is the only metric that matters when it comes to like the vanity metrics per se.
Look at
I'm a bit of an outlier that way too, because I've always been in the least amount of clients possible, charging the most amount of money. So if you
Boom.
ask me how much money I make in revenue, I'd have to go dig it up because I don't really follow that close.
Mhm.
And I have clients that have been with me for 8 or 9 years now, and my revenue split is 85% fees, 15% commission. The reason why it's still 15% commission is because I sell mostly business class, and there
Mhm.
are still commission in business class. Though, again, if you follow, we in Canada, we had commission with Air Canada of about 10%, got cut to 5% 6 months ago,
Mhm.
dropping to 3% starting July
Wow.
1st. So whoever is business model, and that I'm talking about air specifically because that is what
Oh.
I do. I understand that's not industry specific. That's not
Mhm.
for everyone. But I focus on charging fees and I work for my clients and I want their trust and I want them to be fun so that when they pay me and I do work for them, I enjoy it. They're happy about it too. And that's my metric for my goal line for is it successful or not? Is am I having fun? Do I have good clients to work with?
Yeah.
Do they do cool shit? Like, do they live a good life? And do I support them in any way, shape, or form I can? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, I don't know any of the awards. I don't think I've ever applied. Do you have to apply for those if they given to you? Like, I mean,
it.
it's like my. I mean,
Some
I'm with a
some are
host agency. That's
application.
yeah,
Yeah, some
yeah,
are applications, some you're being awarded, some you pay for. People
Yeah.
yeah,
know
I heard
that.
that
Like,
was a standard recently, and I'm like,
yeah. I
okay,
said,
I
how's
don't
the
like
award
that.
if you had to pay for it?
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, if you're working commission based, like, and it's volume driven, then you're naturally going to migrate towards these awards because you have no other option.
Mhm.
I'm
Right.
not. I'm the other way around. If anything, I'd be like, who made the least amount of revenue and the most amount of money? I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be that award, but not the other way around.
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah,
Larry, would you say that you were saying 85% is fees, and most of those, it's not like somebody comes to you for an air ticket. You have relationships with your clients, and so most of your clients are retainers. So I'm assuming they would have to like renew every year if they wanted to keep working with you. Again, not like sharing all your secrets, but so that people can understand what your business model is per se.
Yeah, it's no secret at all. And I mean, I haven't hidden the fact that, like if for transactional business class ticket, we charge $700.
Mhm.
And if you want to work with us, one client, not your entire family, I mean, if they travel with you, fine. But, for a retainer, it's $1,500 a month. And we only do air. We don't do any hotel. We don't do anything else. That is all we do. And we have plenty of people that are paying us for that. And the way, and I've shared this before, but the way we share pricing, and I say these numbers, and what it creates is that people go like, I don't know how I get from $100 to 700 or
Right.
whatever the gap is. And I think that's the big thing. And for most advisor, they go, well, I already do 5 things. So if I'm going to double my price, I'm going to have to do 10 things. And then you're in the features business, right? You're in the number of tasks you have to do. And
Yeah.
then you're all about, this is what I do, me. So we talk about being the bottleneck. That's where it starts, right? That's
Mhm.
what I do. This is my expertise. These are my contacts.
Mm.
Clients are like, just what's in it for me? Like tell me what it's going to be like. What am I going to feel from all of these? And we work really hard in building an offer in
Mhm.
air, because what's the point of selling something that, what are you selling? You know, you need a clearly defined offer so the client understand what it is they're buying, so that the price naturally makes sense.
Right.
You've laid out the value. The client goes, yeah, that makes sense. You understand what it is you have to do. So much easier. And that just doesn't just apply to air. It could apply to anything you do. And once you have that offer, the client knows exactly what's in it for them. And then we translate the benefit. So they're features in our mind because we write them down. But when we communicate to the client, it's what's in it for them. We don't say, well, we do seat selection. It's like, no, we'll ensure you're not stuck in a middle seat by the bathroom. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want that. Right. So once you just reverse the framing of the offer. And then once
That,
the clients can
that.
realize it's either they go, oh, that has happened to me before. It sucked. I don't want it to happen again.
Yeah.
Or it's so vivid that they'd be like, oh, that'd be terrible. I would not want that to happen. Could you save me from that? Like if you list your offer like that, and then once you say the price, they're gonna be like, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it now.
Definitely
But you
work.
say seat selection, they go, I do seat selection. Uh, Whatever you can name. The client intellectually is always going to go, check, check. I do this. I've been doing this for 20 years. I do this for 20 years. I could do this. I could do this. But when you flip it as to how it's going to feel for them, and they go, oh, yeah, that must feel good. And then once you say the price, they just go, yeah, it's just the point at the end of the sentence. And the value just makes sense.
Yeah. I wrote down framing and positioning because I feel like that I wanted to say like I feel like there's also a confidence problem within our industry, but I feel like a bigger issue or like something that is kind of like a stretch for that one is like the framing and positioning, kind of going again to the I love travel and I just sell travel. But what you just said there about like how you think about air tickets is actually what people are purchasing. And so like I feel like it further comes down to like you don't know who your client is, which is why you don't know how to price and you don't know how to frame and you don't know how to position in order to effectively sell some of these higher priced items. So I don't know how either of you feels on that and like what we can do to kind of like help or assist or get advisors out of that funk.
Okay, so I'll step in because I also have a retainer model, and obviously I don't just sell air. And my retainer model, it's so funny because just got back from LA, Miami, and they're like, "You have how
Yeah.
many clients?" Because everybody's talking about. And when I started mine, I had 8, then it went to 10, then it went to 15, then 25. Now I'm back down to 15, and
Okay.
I only need 15 clients because why do I need more clients? Because
Mm-hmm.
he's just like Larry said, like. I don't need all these clients. I
Mhm.
revenue like I have a $10,000 retainer. And then after the retainer is used up, then it goes off for the year. So let's just say after that, it's 10% of your full trip. And so
Okay.
that's whether if it's just you come to me for air, if it's $1,000 for the air, 10% of it's coming. Like that's just the natural fee that I have after that 10,000. And
Mhm.
so people are like, what? Like, how does that work? How do you charge? Like, and it goes back to what Larry said, because also I know my clients, and my clients are people that are used to paying, like, and it's not just a me
Yes.
thing. They just want it done. They don't care if Ashley does it. They don't care if I call Larry and say, hey, Larry, I need your team to do air. They just want to know that it's done.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not a Courtney has to do everything. That's not what they're paying for. They're not necessarily paying for Courtney to do it. It's just the service that I'm providing. And so I think, I guess when we're talking about bottleneck, but then also confidence and features and all of that, is like, who is it that you want to serve? Because I hear advisors say they want to serve a certain clientele.
Luxury.
And luxury is so objective, because
Yes.
some people would consider Starbucks a luxury. If you can pay $10 for a latte, that's a
Right.
luxury. But
Right.
that's not necessarily, is it aspirational luxury? Is it really high net worth? Is it, like what is luxury? Because nowadays there's luxury that's attainable. But here's the difference. Like, are you serving wealthy clients or just
Mhm.
high income clients? Because that's a difference. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I'm not saying that everybody has clients like Jeff Bezos where you can take $1 salary and live off dividends. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, like, there's a difference of true wealth, like working with people that have a high net worth versus working with people who have high incomes. That's very different. Because
Mhm.
if they lose their job tomorrow, they probably are not wealthy. They're not rich. You know what I mean? Like they just
Right.
make a decent or, above average income. And so when you know who your client is, who the profile is, it's easier because it's not even a sale, because the way their mind works, they wouldn't expect it to be like people that do business like they wouldn't expect him not to charge that. Does that make sense? Like the way their
Right.
mind works, especially like when you have a lot of C-suite entrepreneurs, they're used to paying for things. Like
Yes.
I always say, my clients, they have a team. They usually have a lawyer on retainer. They're used to paying billable hours, or have some sports or athletes where they have an
Mm.
agent. They have a team of people. They don't do everything in their life. They
Hmm.
created a small and trustworthy team, concierge type lifestyle management type of thing, that they're insulated. They don't do all the things. They don't make all the decisions. They hire that out.
Yeah.
So if those are the type people that you're looking for, you have to be able to present that way. Does that make sense? Like you can't
Yeah.
say you want this and then
Charge $100 fee.
correct, or your website says one thing. And then I also think sometimes just to touch on the confidence problem of like, I feel like because it's 80% of the travel agency are women. And
Mhm.
so sometimes as women, we feel like we need more sales, more years in business. We need to be
Proof.
knowledgeable about all the destinations. So we need more certifications. We need to be top sellers. We need to be A-list. It's like you said, we have to accumulate proof. But I think it comes from understanding our value. The problem is we're still measuring ourselves with metrics that they taught us 10 years ago. And so
Hmm.
people tie their self-worth to the production alone. So then they underprice, they over deliver, they don't want to delegate, they struggle to articulate their value. They feel like they should just be grateful that they have this client who's spending this
That.
money. And they feel like they're replaceable, because I think it's also still that employee mentality. And deep down, they're still asking like, what am I actually worth if I stop doing all the work? You know what I mean? Like I think there's some deeper work outside of, because I always tell people, when you run a business, you need to be in therapy, or it's going to be your therapy. You
Yeah.
need to know God, like every limiting belief, everything that you
Oh,
don't think or you think
yes.
is healed. When you run a business and you get to the next level, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
So I'm always saying like it's not for everyone, but I believe it's going all I say your shortcomings or things that you think you have a handle on,
They'll
you got
come
no
out
clue.
quick.
So right now, if someone, I'll be honest. So I say 10,000 retainer. I've had one of my clients like, you need to go up to 30,000. And I'm like, like this is
Yeah.
me, this confidence. I can do this and all of that. Like, when you hit that next level, you like, can I charge 30,000? You know, like, but you got to think there's so many people in our industry that thinks it's crazy that I charge 10 and that Larry charges that amount. So just imagine if we rise up and say we're only working with clients that are spending over $300,000 a year in air, or we're only doing, you know, business with people that have 150 million in, you know, net worth.
Yeah.
Now we're like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It makes me think of Jackie of New Vibe Travel, who
mhm,
had said like she has I don't know what level of like doctor they are, but they're a medical physician. And she said something maybe like a $200 fee, and they were like, "Really? Like you should be charging like $1,000." So
yeah.
she raised it to I think like $700 or $800, and I think like it's steadily climbing. But th those people at that level, they expect, and I would say that they would even want to pay the higher level, knowing that everything's going to be taken care of, and they don't have to worry about one single thing except going.
Hmm.
Larry.
We're our worst own. I mean, in terms of judging our own value, we are the worst.
Hmm.
And everybody tries to do it. And through several conversations with client, I've realized now that my value, what I think I'm worth, is completely irrelevant to the conversation. Like it's important, but it's not super
Mm.
relevant. What I'm perceived to be valued, that's important. And that's what I want to price against.
Mhm.
And I've learned through, years, a client that I had, and I realized I was like, when your clients are talking in thousands, don't talk in hundreds,
Right.
because
Exactly.
right away it just diminishes. And everything you do, we also want to know everything. And the reality is, if you spend most of your time talking to your clients, they have all the answers.
Hmm.
But we're so worried about all the information behind us and all the things, all the new gadgets and everything. We need to know everything because we can never say we don't know something, because that's seen as weak. But you know what? Every time I say, I don't know, I've never fly there. Like, I don't know how this works, but
Yeah.
let me figure it out. And I know from personal experience that when that happens to me with another professional, I'm like, it builds trust, like I hate somebody who always has an answer for everything. Sometimes there's an element of humanity when somebody says, I don't know,
Right.
and it just makes like, oh, we're kind of the same in a way, right? It builds that relationship and that trust. And, but I'll give you an example of value that if you told me, I mean, there's no way I could have ever figured this out. So I have a client, I've said this before, that one instance happened, the second trip he took, he's on a yearly retainer. Something happened. I sent him a few screenshots of flight where his plane was on the ground and like the weather patterns and stuff. And he was amazed. And he said that paid for the whole year. Okay? That was a simple thing that happened to him. Recently, we were in Ireland, and he happens to be in my mastermind group, and we were having dinner when I was like, Larry, I got to tell you something. Remember 2 weeks ago when I called you? I said, yeah. So he was in Washington, D.C. for a speech, and his son happened to also be in the D.C. area for a school trip. So the school calls him and says, your son's been puking all afternoon. Like, we don't know if he's going to be able to carry on the trip. So then he messaged me. He's like, can we talk? And I was like, absolutely. So we get on the phone, and he lays out what happened. And he says, we're going to give him the night. We'll reconvene tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And I says, there's no problem at all. I've already looked at it. There's flights out of Baltimore. There's flights out of DCA. There's flights out of Dulles. There's plenty of room on all those flights. We just move your ticket to wherever your son's flying out of. We buy a seat for him, and we just send you guys home. And he said that paid for another year.
Mhm.
Who would have said that's valuable? Now, I wouldn't have. But to him, it was tremendously valuable.
Right.
Because in the circumstance that he was in, it's like, I'm about to deliver a speech to 30,000 people, and I've got to deal with this thing. And I make one call, and then all of a sudden, all this taken away from me.
Wiped.
It's as simple as that. And again, we have this need for perfection, and I don't have that, but sometimes I do.
Mhm.
But we don't need to be a hero every time. To this guy, over 2 years, I've been a hero twice. He's
Mhm.
probably flown like 60 times. Every other trip, this happened like clockwork. Nothing bad happened. Stayed in touch communication wise all the time. It's happening, flights on time, all that kind of stuff. So again, we think that one, to be worthy of these clients, we need to do everything every time,
Mhm.
or to charge that much money, we need to be 30-year veteran. We need to have all these contacts. We need to have all these things. The reality is, if you just talk to your clients more than you spend learning, you'll realize that they don't need much, and you're just there to support them.
Yeah.
And often they just need somebody to be there with them. Sometimes you don't even need to know what to do. You just need to be there. So, I mean, it's for us in air happens all the time because the recurrence of air is quite frequent. But that's what I've learned. And it's irrelevant how much you charge. And once you've gone out of the bottom of like the low fees and like the uncertainty, and first of all, confidence doesn't build waiting for you to be ready. Like it comes after you've been brave enough to make a step.
Yeah.
Mic drop. Larry, that's a mic drop. Let that sink in for people. Let that sink in.
But it's simple. It's not necessarily easy all the time, but it's very simple. And we really love to complicate. My mentor says all the time, there's two things we're really good at, and it's to complicate our lives. And the second thing is to justify what we're doing.
Oh boy.
So yeah.
Yeah, because I'm a huge proponent for networking when I know like we're in such like a digital space and there's even ways to like meet people because you mentioned conversations because I feel like that's where these types of clients kind of come out of. It's not a Facebook ad. I mean, I guess it could be a Facebook ad, but it's you've had a conversation with somebody. It's referral marketing at this point because you've been delivering such good experiences for other people. These types of clients are not scrolling on social media per se. They could be, but that not for like services, because again, both of you mentioned they most likely have a team that's also taking care of some of these things and taking it off their plate. So a lot of the people that you've been working with, where would you like if you're thinking of like one of your tops, where did that come from? Where did that person come out of?
Okay, so I always like to say this because people are always like, "Oh, well, Courtnie." So here's what people assume. Courtney's husband's a college basketball coach. She's in the sport world. She gets all
Yeah.
her clients from him, XYZ. And the reason I say this, my husband does not promote me like he should. You know what I mean? Like there's even in his friend group, I've had to like email and call them a number. Now, again, I do know them and I have their number. Some people wouldn't have such and such as number, and
Uh-huh.
I actually have access to get their number. But what I'm saying is, he's not about to be like, do my work for me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like half the time he's like, oh, they're not going to, or like they have their private plane. They always go to Key West, or he always tries to make see. I'm like, plug me, put me on.
Yeah.
So just want to throw that out there. Husband has nothing to do with my high net worth clients. Again, I will say that it does put me in rooms with certain people. I will say that.
Mhm.
So the door is open. I just have to walk through, but I still have to walk through.
Yes.
But also, I will let people know the privilege that before I was in travel, I was a major gift fundraiser. And for those who don't know
Mm.
what that is, in the university setting, I asked really wealthy people for a lot of money. So if you got a call from me, you could get a 100,000 plus cash gift to a university to put your name on a building, on a court, for scholarships, all of that. So I will say that helped because I'm around high net worth people. I was around high net worth people. And so when I started my travel business, you got to think spending time with just them and trying to get money and all that. I've built a relationship with them. They know me. So now it's like, oh, Courtney, you're doing this. So I will say I did get some of those clients from my previous background or work experience. But I also will say that like in Philly, I joined the Fiddler Club, which is like a social or membership club. I don't necessarily, it's not a country club. We're in Philly. There's no country club. I mean, I guess there could be, but like it's not golf course. It's not like what you would think as a country club.
Gosh.
It's
Yeah.
literally, yeah, it's literally I guess it is. It's not, it's very modern and like it's a private membership club. It's in the city. They have co-working spaces, private. Also, I go there to work, but also they have the gym. I do my sauna, steam room. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mhm.
a full social. They do like business events, all of that. It's very Philly, it's very modern. So like I joined the Fiddler Club, got a new client. I'm sitting at the bar at lunch on my laptop. And obviously, you're meeting people, and they're like, "What do you do?" And da 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 da. And we're talking, and drop a card. It's that type of thing. It's
Right.
at the coffee shops. It's like when I went to basketball games, and I'm sitting there, and a donor comes up or somebody, and they're talking. Oh, you do this X Y Z. So like, it's I'm at a game or I'm at the club or I'm I'm very not antisocial. I'm a social butterfly. I get energy from that. If y'all can't tell, I'm not quiet. I stand out. I'm like this 6'2" black woman, like with a mouth. And so like I go in rooms and not just say I command the attention or like think I'm all of that, but like I'm noticeable and I speak to people. And so I will say that that has helped. It's probably the confidence, but like you're saying, where do you meet these people? Is because I don't sit in the house. Even though I work from home, I'm
Mhm.
very much like you'll find me. They're like, dang, Courtney, stay on the go. Like I'm very much out and about from my gym, like going to the gym and talking to people, and then again the club, or like you'll see me in the city out, or like meeting. I do chamber stuff. I meet with different, so like also people don't understand this. And I think probably because I do have that nonprofit and that major gift background experience, you want to be around people, galas, fundraisers,
Yes.
doing
Yeah.
something where the philanthropists are like a lot of high net worth people are philanthropists. So whether it's if you love art, be a volunteer, at the gallery, the botanical garden. Like, I can think of several different things. A
Yeah.
red shoe, McDonald, Ronald McDonald's or American Heart Association, do a relay. You know what I mean? Like get it, put yourself in rooms. So I will say that it has been a combination from my previous life as a fundraiser. Obviously, I won't just say theirs is nothing, but like being in a room with someone that is in a public eye and surrounded by people, that I could turn into clients, that does help. Um, and I will say being out and about and talking about my business. This is the thing. Closed mouths don't get fed. How do
Boom.
people know about your business if you never share anything with them?
Yep.
And I understand, I hear people all the time like, well, I don't go. If you're in the pickup line for your kid, who have you talked to? Like while you're in the pickup line, or I'm talking, your PTA, like it's like we're scared to share with people what we do.
Hmm.
I feel like that's the most selfish thing though, because you're offering a service that could help someone. Why
Right.
wouldn't you look at it like that? You not telling someone to me is a selfish act because you have an impact on other people. So you keeping your gift or hoarding it to yourself, like God didn't give you that for you to keep to yourself.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I share with people.
The That brings up like a very funny story because I want to get your take on that too, Larry. Of I was in a Disney group, and I mean I'm in Orlando, Florida. I've worked at the theme parks, and somebody on the busiest week of the year, they don't know, but like we're in the industry. I've been here, so I know last week of the year, crazy. And she's like, I just thought I could buy a ticket up at the gate, and I'm like, if pe something as simple as that, people still don't know the even bigger complexities of travel. People definitely don't know. Or like if you feel like you've been talking about it too much, keep talking about because there's still people that will never like hear like people aren't on social media 24/7. They're not in every room to be meeting people. So keep at it. Larry, I want to get your take too on where some of your best people that you've crossed paths.
One of the sentences I hear all the time is like, "Oh, I love travel so much. It just made sense for me to be a travel advisor." I'm like, does it make sense though? Like, what do
Right.
you mean?
Yes.
How does that make sense? So I think that comes down to I didn't decide to be a travel advisor. I loved airline and airplanes so much that I played an airline simulation game online while I worked in a call center at an airline. And then when a position came open in pricing, I applied. And I showed up at an interview with all my Lary Air documents. I had my schedule, my pricing, my fleet, my leases, everything. And I
Wow.
go, you guys do this in Excel too? This is crazy. But there was like a WestJet, low cost airline just starting out at the time. So I got hired. And I've always done something I love. So then
Mhm.
when I decided to jump the fence and go into travel, I was hired by Flight Center in Canada. And I was there for a year. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in the right lane. I'm going the right direction. I'm in the wrong lane, right? I
Mhm.
don't want to do it this way. So then I ventured on my own, no book of business, nothing. I was like, I want to charge fees. Like it makes no sense to do the whole markup game. Like it's important for me to have a line item at the bottom of my invoice that says, Larry is worth this. Do you agree? Let's
Mhm.
do business. So then I started to do everything for everyone, as most of us do. And it took me a year and a half. And I was like, all the good people I like working with, they only ask me for air. And that's all I love to do. So why don't I just do air? And everybody's like, you're crazy. That doesn't work. Nobody does that. There's no money to be made there. I was like, I don't care. I love it. And then I think that there's an element to it. And for referral for clients, niching down always looks like, well, you're narrowing your field of opportunity. I don't think so. Because
Mm-mm.
if anything, for me, it's showing up that it's open up my field of opportunity.
Yeah.
And a comment I got often is like, you're so easy to refer,
Ah,
because
that's
when
amazing.
when someone talks about cruises, your name doesn't come up. But as soon as somebody is bitching about a flight, I have a guy, and
Yep.
then my name just circles that way. And just by being a nerd about it, just by if you're like have a lack of confidence about selling and like, working with the client,
Mhm.
if you pick a niche, if you pick something in travel that lights you up just by being a nerd about it,
Yeah.
someone's going to be like, oh my God, that person knows more than me. So yeah, I'm going to hire them.
Yeah.
And then you've won the battle already. But if you've chosen a niche because it has the highest percentage commission, or because it's the most potential to get to $1 million, whatever, well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
You're going to have to probably pay for some ads. But yeah, the referral for me, and it's been a slow build, but you know what?
Mhm.
When it unlocks on a 10-year scale, I guarantee you I'd be at the same place as anybody else who's taken all the inquiries, all the revenues they could from the beginning,
Yeah.
regardless of if it was an ideal client or not. So ultimately, like, just being clear on what you want your business to be, who you want to serve, and spend a lot of your time figuring out what these people like, what they buy, how much money they spend, where do they spend it, and just slot yourself in there as a professional in their circle, like Courtnie mentioned. I mean, if your client has a lawyer, a gardener, an executive assistant, a coach, why can't they just have a travel person on retainer?
Right.
Right. And just
It's
speaking of the tag off of Larry, one of my biggest referral sources in my business was financial and wealth advisors. I've
Yeah.
actually partnered with maybe two or three that have referred me, because a lot of the investment, a lot of the travel plans and things that they have are what wealth planners and stuff. I want to travel more. I want to do this. You know what I mean? Like they
yep.
allot a big sum of money, or like, hey, I have a client that owns a Scooter Coffee, and so they're like, I need to dump this money coming out, where I get. So I work really well with, wealth advisors, investment type, they're thinking differently. And so
Hmm.
their clients like, so they're like, oh, we've got you something. I've been like an extension of their team.
Yeah. And even then, when you work with business people, like I had somebody in December saying, I pay monthly. Can I just pay annual? I was like, of course, why? Well, it
Yeah.
would help me if I put this in this year's financial calendar. I was like, how come I never thought about this? This is
Yeah.
fantastic. Of
Yeah.
course, you can pay this year for next year and claim it in this year's tax. I'm like, genius. But again, when you surround yourself with people like that, then sometimes if you listen, then like they can offer a lot of solutions as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you guys both came at it like from different angles too, because I don't want people to think that they just have to deal with high net worth or wealthy. Like you can also deal with people that aren't in those realms and still make a decent living. Like what Courtney needs to have a really great life is going to be very different from what I need versus what Larry needs. So that's why I always like to come to like, what are the numbers that you need? Because I feel like that's always a missed step when we're doing this planning, and like how much you need in sales and who do you need to approach, because if you don't have that number because you're just doing it for fun, there's no arrow, there's no direction to get you to the next or get you closer. And I'm also a huge proponent for niching that, because I'm like, you put the blinders on, but then the whole world kind of opens up because you're like, okay, I am just going to be speaking with people who volunteer at charity events or whatever it might be. And you know exactly where you go, how often things are going to be happening for them, how often, like how many people are going to be at this event. Like everything just kind of falls in line once you get really specific on those two. I can't believe what time it is, because I know we could go on to so many different other topics. So we're gonna have to have like part one, two, three, four, five, six, seven in the future. But before we jump off, like, was there anything else that you wanted to make sure travel advisors knew, kind of like from this beginner conversation?
For me, I mean, apart from numbers, like what I look for a client, like I need to know that a client is willing to buy back their time. It doesn't matter how much money they make. Like if somebody is not willing to let go of the research process and everything, they're
Mhm.
just not ready for me. It doesn't matter how much money they have. Actually, some people have plenty of money and they still spend a lot of time online looking for stuff.
Yeah.
So my gauge for a client is, and I have Yeah. So I have like a survey that I send them. It's like, do you have any other professionals in your life? Like, who do you hire? Who do you
Ooh,
pay?
nice.
Mhm.
And then it gives me an idea of what type of clients they are, like if they value their time or not, and to what degree they are. And then I can kind of feel it out. Do you manage your calendar? No, my assistant. Oh, somebody who can actually let go of something and delegate. Okay, that's good to know. So
Mhm.
that's what I look for, not necessarily how much money they make and all that kind of stuff, but I want to know that somebody's in, and if they give me the ball, I can run with it, and then they'll play with me, and we'll build that relationship of equal, and not one has all the money and I have the knowledge. Like, to me, my knowledge and their money is one and the same.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great tip there. Courtney?
Oh gosh, I feel like we need to. I'll get off on a tangent. This needs to be in part two. But I do
To
want to
be
say, because
continued.
I know it does need to be continued for real, Rita. But I
Yes.
know that,
Yeah.
and one of the things we were talking about is like, as we're talking about clients, that advisors are often the worst clients that they have, because like you're telling clients, Larry just said, you've got to let go, but we don't
Mhm.
let go ourselves.
Mhm.
And we want people to invest in us, but we don't invest in ourselves. So you don't invest in expertise. You're going to do everything yourself. You don't buy back your own time, and you're not seeking any guidance, whether it's a mastermind, a coach, or a peer, or like some type of professional that knows what they're talking about when you don't. And then you refuse, like you get upset when you don't get it, but then you're not doing it for yourself. Or like, oh, I'm gonna go and waste $20,000 on ads, but then you're saying you won't spend 2,500 on support to help you get your business to where you want it to be. Does that make sense? Like you're talking about you're
That's
building trips that are $100,000 trips, but then you don't invest in your own growth. And so like I don't know. Again, this could be a whole other podcast, and we're talking
yeah.
about clients, but like it goes back to, who do we want to be? Who
Mhm.
do we say we are? Why do the clients that we want to work with us? You know what I mean? Like, are we showing up? Are we practicing what we preach? Are
Yeah.
we becoming who we want to become? And like, are we creating the success we want to live? So at the end of the day, like you said, it doesn't have to be my way. It doesn't have to be Larry's way. It doesn't have to be your way. Like you have to come up with that, like what that looks like for you, whether it's
Mhm.
I'm fine with $100,000 a year, 500,000, or it's going to be 1 million, or I'm going to do a retainer and I'm not. But like, you have to create a plan. And then if you don't know how to execute the plan, you have to invest in getting the knowledge. There's obviously a gap from where you are and where you want to be. And so in order to fill that gap, you have to you have to make changes, right? They say doing the same thing over, expecting the result. That's insanity.
Mhm.
Yet we see advisors do that every day,
All the time.
every month, every year. You do these vision boards, you sit on these webinars, you say you're gonna, and then you continue to do the same thing. And then you're like, at the end of the year, why do you not have time to go to Maddie's recital? Or why did you only make $30,000? Or you're itching, I ain't gonna say the whole word, you're itching about your host agency, but your host agency is not gonna do everything for you. They're
Mhm.
just a host, right?
Right.
They're not the hero in the story.
They're in
Who's
it for
gonna
them.
take ownership?
Yeah, that I just put out a post saying something about how I think the most overwhelmed advisors are overwhelmed because they don't have a plan. And then I'm like, also, part two of that is like the most overwhelmed are the ones that have a plan but don't follow the plan or don't stick to the plan or don't take action on the plan.
Correct. So we're the worst clients that we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
I'm
We
with
Yeah.
you
are the
on
bottleneck.
spending money though. It's a lot easier to ask for $20,000 when you've actually spent $20,000 before.
Oh, I want more luxury clients. I want to plan a $50,000 trip, a $30,000 trip.
Yeah.
Go
But
on
you don't
one and
even, you're
experience
complaining
it.
about travel technology being $30 a month.
Oh, this is a whole other
You know what I mean?
topic.
Like it's just a disconnect. Like it doesn't add up. Or you're mad because, oh, well, if I
Boom.
charge fees, like then Stripe takes some of the money. When we go to the
2.9%.
grocery store, to Nike or any of the stores, and they run their credit card transaction, do you think they're not being charged a fee to use
Yeah.
our plastic?
Yeah.
It's the cost of doing freaking business.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to being a
Yeah.
business owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they probably have three of those $30 subscription too.
Ooh.
But because they're individual, I mean, the accountant's going to tell me at the end of the year, but I'm going to spend $90 on something.
Exactly.
outright.
Oh man, we're just getting warmed up and we have to end.
I know. You shouldn't have said that last little thing like,
I
Courtney, is
was
there
like, oh, you
anything
got me
like
there because we could talk and talk and talk about all that. Like there are certain things that you need to have, and there are certain costs of business, but I feel like sometimes that gets used as a crutch as to why you won't take action on other like I love when people are like, so should I be posting more? And I'm like, well, who are you talking to actually? Like I don't if you're not actually doing the work to communicate with people verbally like in person or virtually if you're in a like small town or you're an expat and you're not based like where your clients are, the conversations are going to be the most crucial point. They're your gateway to everything.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I told you that post I just did about you don't need to spend money on ads. Like, why would you spend money on an ad and you haven't even defined who your client is? Like, you're putting gasoline on a fire, so all it does is amplify whatever you do. So if it's a mess, you're amplifying more mess.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so now you're wasting money.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna have to come back
Clarity.
in a couple of months because I think Courtney, you have a couple trips coming up. Larry, you just came from a trip. So we're gonna have to coordinate another one because this is good. Travel advisors, if this has hit a button, let us know. There's going to be that link that you can do send Rita your thoughts. Tell us, what do you want to hear more of? Like more real talk, because there's lots of this conversation that we haven't even unpacked. So we might have to get like notes because like technology is a whole separate thing. Systems and workflows is a whole separate thing. Valuation is a whole separate thing. So we might have to make this a series coming up. But Courtney, Larry, thank you so much for being here. Share your LinkedIns or wherever you'd like people to follow you at because you guys always have really great posts out there.
Mine is just Lary Néron. It's very simple.
Yeah, mine is too, Courtney, but it's Courtnie.
Yes. The
Larry
NIE
one
is
R.
very
There you go.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
Larry 1R too.
Yeah, see.
All right, travel advisors, thanks so much for being here. And stay tuned. We have a really special episode next week in honor of Social Media Day. We'll see you later. Bye. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. Remember to check out the show notes for all relevant links and resources from today's show. See you next time.